Hey guys, Brian Delivered You the Goods here. I'm returning to you tonight for this next Iron Maiden album review that I wanted to return to you guys for Somewhere in Time, the sixth studio album in their discography. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for this 8-track record for Somewhere in Time and let you know my thoughts on this album overall, which was like a 51-minute record. So let's dive into this album review tonight. Now it starts with Caught Somewhere in Time, which is a very strong track. I think Bruce Dickinson's vocals sounded really good, and just the execution of this lengthy song did very well for the majority of how this song sounded. So I think kind of for the title track because it has the word caught in it, but it still was a strong track and it performed pretty well. So 5 out of 5. So then we get to Wasted Years, which is a solid track. I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5 for this one. I think I like this song, but I think there's a few weak tendencies and moments in this track that kind of get a little underwhelming. Sorry, I'm about ready to go to bed soon. But overall, I think Wasted Years is a 4.75 out of 5. Bruce Dickinson's vocals sound solid enough to listen through, but it's just the way the song's executing is my hit or miss moments. I have my hit or miss moments with the song, how the song executes from time to time, so 4.75 out of 5. Sea of Madness was a good song, but there were some issues with this track as you progress through it because the way Bruce Dickinson sings it, it's alright, but it just the the soundscape to the song has its moments where there's some cringiness to it, but it's not terrible. It's a good enough song to get you through the record. So the guitar work and drum work was fairly average for how it sounded, so 4.5 out of 5. Then comes Heaven Can Wait. This track was a little bit annoying. I didn't necessarily hate this track, but I think it's like a 4 point, probably a 4 out of 5 for me for this one. This track wasn't terrible, but it wasn't one of the best songs that I've listened to in their discography. So yeah, 4 out of 5. I think Bruce Dickinson's vocals had its underwhelming moments with how he was singing the lyrics "Heaven Can Wait" in the chorus. There was some cheesiness to it, but it overall executed fairly decently for how it turned out. Sorry, I'm just writing down my new rating for this record. So yeah, "Heaven Can Wait" is a 4 out of 5 for this song. It's fairly decent. Then we get to the next track, which is The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. Good song for how it sounds. It was pretty lengthy. Most of these tracks are very lengthy, by the way. Some of them can range close to 9 minutes, or 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes. It ranges for what songs. And there's some 5.5 second tracks and 5.5 minute songs and all that. But overall, The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner had some good melody structure, but it tended to execute alright for how it turned out. So I think Bruce Dickinson's vocals kind of are the highlight for some of this track, but there are some times where the execution for his vocals can have its weak moments. But overall, 4.5 out of 5 for this track. Stranger in a Strange Land is a good song for how it sounds. I think execution wise, Bruce Dickinson's vocals were fairly good, and the melody and structure to this song with the guitar work and drum work played alright for the runtime for this pretty lengthy song, but it's overall good for how it sounds. So 4.5 out of 5 for this track too. Deja Vu did have its cheesy moments, but it's not terrible. It's another good track I can respect a little and give it a good fair listen and see what I think of it overall. And I thought it was a good track for the execution. I just think there were some moments with Bruce Dickinson's vocal range that tended to have its weak moments. I am so sorry about my yawning. I'm just very tired. It's just been quite a day, basically. Some things have happened, some things have basically. It's just been one of those sluggish days for me. Basically, like, you're motivated to do something, then you start. You get the gist. It just felt like the sluggishness kind of kicked in for the day. So, basically, the day was a little sluggish, but it breezed by. Other than that, Deja Vu is a 4.5 out of 5 to get back on track for the review. And the final track, Alexander the Great, is a good song. The execution to how the melody sounds is fairly good. Bruce Dickinson's vocals are fairly strong for the execution, and just how he sings it from time to time. There were some pause moments and some instrumental moments with the guitar work that kicked in, but overall, with the execution, I think this track worked to a degree. 4.5 out of 5. So overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I think Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time was a little weaker than Power Slave. It is an average listen. It's not anything that I hated, but it's not anything that I loved. But it's not bad. It's listenable. But there are some moments where I felt that Heaven Can Wait was the weakest highlight, the weakest song on the record was Heaven Can Wait, of course. So that one kind of, I had some cringe vibes with that track, with how Bruce Dickinson was singing the start of the chorus. It kind of got underwhelming. But overall, the rest of the songs are alright. So if I were to give, the only song I liked was the title track, Caught Somewhere in Time. And everything else did pretty good, but there were some very safe moments through this record that kind of almost tanked in the execution. Didn't tank, but made it fairly average enough for me to give it the score it deserves. The score that it's gonna get, basically. So if I were to give Caught the Somewhere in Time, I almost said Caught Somewhere in Time, I'm thinking of the song. If I were to give Somewhere in Time for this Iron Maiden album a score, I'm feeling a 7.5 out of 10. It's average. It's not one of the best records in their discography, but it is a listenable album for sure for 51 minutes. So you're in for an interesting listen, but overall, some of the execution in this had its weak moments, but it wasn't terrible of a listen. So basically 7.5 out of 10 for Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time. I hope you enjoyed this album review tonight. I'll have Seventh Son of a Seventh Son coming out tomorrow. Not tomorrow. It's coming out June 21st, so Saturday. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time album review, and thank you guys for watching. Have a good night.